Some of you may have seen, hopefully all of you saw the article in the New York Times on yesterday with respect to homelessness. And, at one point in time, Houston was on the list as being one of the cities with the worst homeless problems. But that has changed. That has changed. So certainly, in fact, in the last decade, Houston has housed about 25,000 persons who were homeless on our street. I want to acknowledge the work that started with former Mayor Niece Parker, which has continued since then. But instead of dealing with a fragmented ecosystem, Houston has put together the Houston Coalition on Homelessness, which is these various nonprofits that are working together, quite frankly, under the umbrella of the Way Home. And that has proven to be effective. And housing is the critical component to reducing the number of people who are homeless. But housing alone won't do it. You have to have housing and the wraparound services as well. And I know very much that Councilmember Tiffany Thomas could speak to this particular issue. But the reality is that since in the last decade, the city has reduced with its partners, and when I say the city, I'm talking about the ecosystem, the nonprofits and everyone participating, businesses participation, faith-based institutions, working with the county. For example, in the last decade, we've reduced homelessness in the city by 63%. And the goal, that's a huge achievement. And the goal is to get us down to zero when it comes to chronic homelessness. So major steps have taken place. We're now in phase 2 of our collaboration with the county, putting $100 million into homelessness. The only thing that's holding us up right now is finding additional single-bed units, apartments. That is the issue that's holding us back. And to the extent, for example, if we had more one-bedroom apartments, the remaining encampments that you see in the city could be decommissioned like yesterday, and we could move forward. But that's the only thing that's holding us back. But I do want to thank many of the apartment owners, because but for them making units available that we can utilize for the homeless, we wouldn't be able to be where we are today. And I want to thank the apartment owners, and I want to also ask for their continuing cooperation, and where they have available units, or where there are units that they're willing to say, to the city, you can use these for our homeless population, then I hope they will work with us to do just that. Because we don't just put people who are homeless in these units and walk away. We also come with them and provide the necessary wraparound services, which 2 years after the fact, most of them are still housed. And that's the key. It'd be one thing you put them in an apartment and they circulate right back on the street. But most of them, 2 years after the fact, are still housed, standing up, reuniting with their families, getting jobs. So that's been major. The Navigation Center is working. That's in Councilmember Peck's district. I know there's another Navigation Center that we're working on in Councilmember Tarsha Jackson's district. And again, these are not shelters. These are Navigation Centers. People are there 60 to 90 days, and then they then move on to an apartment where they can live anywhere in the city. So that is working. I want to thank you, the council members, for your support on this. Because when you start talking about between the county and the city spending $100 million, so I want to thank you for your support and what we've been able to achieve. So the goal is, and I would love for us to be down to zero by the end of next year. That's what we're shooting for. I did, and I know it was in the New York Times. I did receive last night a text from Mayor Adams in New York, and who is wanting to come along with his team to Houston to kind of look at, what we've been able to do, and then got calls from Portland and some other cities as well. So, no one is saying, mission accomplished, but it is worthwhile just to note where we are, and the fact that we just need to continue to work together. So again, I want to thank the nonprofits, the faith-based institutions, the county, the private sector, the apartment owners themselves. I want to thank you all for at least, getting us where we are, and I know we're trending in the right direction.
We are providing locations for folks to go to, housing with wraparound support services. We're finding 98% of the folks on the streets want to get off the streets. They want to go to that, and when we put them in that, they stay there. We're not chasing them around from block to block like so many other places are doing. But we couldn't do this without your support, Mayor. You have taken some work that might have been started before you, but you've taken it to another level. While the New York Times article profiled certain individuals and agencies, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of other heroes and organizations out there in Houston that are putting aside their own goals and their own pressures to work together as one collaborative system with one unified plan, with shared goals and shared strategies, and we couldn't do it without their amazing work. We're doing things here in the Houston and the Harris County area with a fraction of the resources that most major cities. In fact, we spend the least of any major city in the United States on this issue. But what we have that others don't have is an amazing, unified, coordinated system that's focused. The city and the county are unified on this, and we have high-level elected leadership that keeps on pushing through. Today is not about the laundry list of voids that we have. As the mayor would say, they're not challenges, they're opportunities, but we prioritize those, and then we work on them to the best of our ability. And I look forward to having further discussions with you on that, as well as other interested council members.